complete your RP session, and I already send you all the guys, whatever guys they have attended. I already sent you the recorded session also. So today we are also recording the session, and after that we'll try to send you to everyone this session. Okay, so now I'm going to hand over this session to the Priyanjay. He will take your session for the Python, and after that we'll discuss. Okay, so hi Priyanjan, can you please start, Priyanjay Goswami?
Yeah, thank you so much, Naveen. So as he's mentioning, and we all are on the holidays for this COVID-19 epidemic, so we can utilize, we all are working from home, and we can utilize this time for reskilling. As a part of IT industry, we all know like it is very important to reskill ourselves. So what we have thought of like coming with some technologies which are going to be in future in huge demand. So considering that, we have started the webinar today with Python. Yesterday we discussed about RPA, which Naveen was mentioning earlier. So I'll share my screen, and please notify me if you are able to see my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I believe people can see my screen. Okay, so the first screen, if you see Python, the future language of IT industry. Why do we call like that? Because of the obvious reasons. In the recent time, what we have seen, Python has overtaken all the programming language in terms of development, as well as if you talk about the cutting edge technologies like machine learning, AWS automation, data science, even for the web development. Definitely Java is going to stay, for web development. There is no alternative for that. But for the cutting edge technologies like AI/ML, data science, it is going to be Python, which is going to be hugely in demand. This is Google trend. This screen shows in the recent time how in the last 12 months I have seen here shown here as the surge in Python popularity because of this machine learning, AI, and Python-based scripting, data science coming in. Now you can ask the reason like why in the recent times, last 3-4 years, Python has become so popular. Even machine learning has become so popular. Machine learning, it is the terminologies coming in 1970s, 80s. But why in the recent times, especially from 2011 onwards, it became so popular? Because we didn't have the processor which will be able to manage lot amount of data, and that will be able to process. 2011-12 was the inflection point. We have got strong processors, and hence we come across the big data also. For the big data, so if you're working with a Hadoop or Spark, you should have high configuration laptop that should be having high processors, and it should have a more amount of RAM, considerably like 16 GB and so on. So because of the increase in computational power of our processors, in the recent time, Python became more popular, and we get a lot of extensive libraries like Pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, and for machine learning, if you see Scikit, and now convolutional neural networks and so on. We got a lot of new libraries in Python, and it has becoming more and more popular. If I show you in Google Trends, earlier JavaScript and Java. So Java came in 1995, right? Python came before that. In 1991, Python came. But the time Python came, it was not that popular as Java. And Java became more popular for web development, especially when servlets came. Now, in Java also we have Spring Boot and Hibernate. So there has been a lot of evolution over the years in Java technology as well. But Python was not at all popular when it started. Java was hugely popular. So if I filter out for worldwide in last 5 years, if you check over here in 2015, 87% of the people were looking for Java, and Python was the list 21. if you look at 2020, Python has overtaken Java as well as JavaScript. Since JavaScript is used, in all kind of web development, and all the web frameworks has come on top of JavaScript, like jQuery or Angular or AngularJS. So all these frameworks are on top of JavaScript. So JavaScript has been also very popular over the years. But in the recent times, that's the saturation point if you see here. So from 2019 onwards, there is a surge in Python programming language compared to Java. So in recent times, AI data science has become more popular, and every company, every big MNCs are investing huge in this to make their product AI ML enabled. Okay. Application areas of Python. So Python can be, very basic, starting with web development. It can be used in data analysis, data science, that has becoming more popular. So every companies are looking for, they have huge amount of data. So in the further slides, we will be discussing about that. DevOps scripting. So, in the recent years, AWS has got more popularity, because if you look up about the startups. So in startups, they cannot, make huge investment in terms of keeping server room and managing all that. So they cannot, purchase hardwares of high cost. Rather, they can go onto the AWS, they can deploy their applications, and they need not to worry about. It will be 24/7 up, and it will be taken care by the AWS. So automation, AWS automation is now in huge demand. And Python as an alternative of Unix programming or shell scripting has become very popular in case of AWS scripting. That we will talk about in later slides. Web scraping. So web scraping, also getting data from websites, skipping into an Excel file or CSV file or in a TXT file, that has also, had made a lot of advancements. So Python can use, in those areas also. In case of machine learning, we have a separate slide for that. We'll be talking about in very detail. For network programming also, networking based applications, we can create using Python. Python for data science. So what do we mean by data science? So we might have heard of terminology in the recent time. So data science is like handling with data, doing data manipulation, the science around the data. Why data has become so popular in recent time. So as per one study, till 2011, what amount of data has been generated by the world has got generated in just 5 years. Just 5 years. Just imagine the amount of data, getting increased every day. So anything what we are doing is, generating data. Like what we are talking right now is generating a data, right? It will be an audio data, a video data. So I'm currently recording it, so it's gonna be a data, right? Even in social media, if you talk about all the posts, all the likes, dislikes, comments, all the shares, all, generating data. So even further, like data could be of structured, semi-structured, non-structured, that is all the different things. So all kinds of data is managed within data science. In Python, there are extensive libraries which deals with data science. There are some fundamental libraries like NumPy and Matplotlib. They only deals with the data manipulations. So NumPy in Python is numeric Python. So, it deals with one-dimensional, two-dimensional arrays in Python. Pandas is the best library when you come across handling, some CSV files or Excel files, doing some statistical calculations. So Pandas is going to be very important. Matplotlib is used for plotting. So if you want to have some pictorial information about your data, so that's where Matplotlib is used. You can plot into a bar chart, pie chart, scatter plot, and so on. There are many visualizations we can do that. Python for machine learning. This is the one reason I would say everybody should learn Python. Going forward, machine learning is going to be hugely in demand. I'll just show you one Forbes report. You know, artificial intelligence to create 58 million new jobs by 2022. That's the Forbes report. 58 million, just see the numbers. That's huge, right? So 5.8 crore jobs are going to get created in a couple of years, you know, and it is going to be worldwide. Just imagine the impact it is going to make on the IT industry. The time Java came into the picture, the similar popularity it has for web applications, similar impact or even more it is going to be based on machine learning and artificial intelligence on the basis of Python, because Python is going to be core language. You know, in Java 11 onwards, they have tried to mimic some of the libraries which is there already in Python, but they have not been able to do so, because in Python for image processing and all, way back we got the libraries, you know, those things they are, you know, trying to manipulate in Java as well, but it's not being so popular because Python being the simplest and the easiest language for now. Let's go to the slide, right? Okay, so machine learning, why it has becoming more popular? I said because the computational power of the processor, we have got, you know, significant increase into that in recent years, like 2011, 12 onwards. So we can see, you know, a deep spike in the popularity of machine learning, hence Python as well. Now, if I look into what are the general applications or use cases, you know, we are doing currently in machine learning. So we can see Google Assistant, Siri, Alexa, Google Home, you know. Apart from that, so these are, you know, high branded products developed by Microsoft, Google, you know. Now, if you come across smaller companies, like even in Bangalore, there are many startups which are based on machine learning. So, you know, they are finding solutions like email spam filtering, sentiment analysis, you know. So nowadays, if you see, if you go on any website, so if you can see at the right corner, chatbot. Right? So they have, you know, instead of keeping somebody, you know, to manually answer your questions, rather they have kept a chatbot, and inside that they might be using Google's Dialogflow or IBM Watson, you know, and it can be able to give the basic questions, answering what user can ask, you know, in a usual format. So now companies are, you know, collecting the user feedback. So whatever they have product or the service, based on that, they are trying to get the customer feedback and they are trying to analyze that. So those kind of sentiment analysis, whether the customer was happy or not happy, they can analyze based on the data gathered from those sources. So these kind of use cases are also coming more in popularity. Facial recognition, this is also very popular. If you go on LinkedIn, you can see these kind of use cases many people are putting over there, right? Voice to text, text to voice. Now this is very easy actually. So these are very simple things now, because in recent, like if you talk about 3-4 years back, voice to text or text to voice conversions were like something, oh, this is dramatically happening. But there has been small libraries in Python, just few lines of code and you can make it happen. Okay. Object detection, you know, detecting object, whether it is a cat or a dog. So we can keep you know, a number of pictures and we can design an algorithm for that, and we can detect all the images, you know, objects into that image. We might have heard of autonomous cars and autonomous planes. You know, there is one scientist, Andrew Ng, in Oxford, Stanford University. So he is considered as one of the leading scientists of the world for machine learning. So they have designed, you know, autonomous planes. So there won't be any pilot driving that plane, and it will be running automatically. So algorithms will be fed certain information, certain commands, and it will be working accordingly. So that's the, you know, the reach out machine learning has made into the technology. Python for IoT. You know, for IoT development, so if I talk Internet of Things, what does it mean? Now, if you go on Amazon.com and if you search for smart ACs, you could find there will be availability of smart ACs. What does it mean, smart AC? So those ACs are like, suppose the room temp, you want to set the room temperature as 25 degree, right? And if the temperature goes, at the noon time, it going 30, 31 or more than that. So accordingly, it will adjust and it will go down to 23, 22 degree so that the room temperature remains 25. Now in night, suppose the atmosphere temperature goes down to 22, 23. Now it is gonna increase the temperature to 26, 27 to maintain the room temperature as 25. So these kind of developments are also done using some of the frameworks like Raspberry Pi. Those are there available in Python, right? Python for AWS scripting. So this is going to be a huge change in case of scripting. So far we might be knowing, right, that shell scripting, the Unix we are using for scripting. Now Python is going to be more popular than that, since it is the easiest programming language so far, right? Okay, so for scripting, we have a Boto3 framework for Python that is, gonna be doing AWS automation with Python. Now, since Python has become more popular if you talk about ML and AI, because it has got lots of library which is not provided by any of the programming language, considering Java, .NET or any other programming language. As I said earlier, in Java they have got from Java 11 onwards some libraries for image processing and doing some basic statistical work in Java. But that's not going to be that popular because Python is very used. We can write only few lines of code and we can achieve the same what we are going to achieve in multiple lines of code in any other programming language. So if we talk about a designation involving ML and AI, so there are machine learning engineer, deep learning engineer. So deep learning is nothing but this is going to be based on convolutional network. So this has been the recent advancement in the machine learning field. Senior data scientist, computer vision engineer. So these are all the designations and number of positions which has to be occupied in the market. So this is coming from job portal indeed.com. If you see about the market projections in AI/ML, right? In 2017, this is less than 2,000 USD million, which has gone up more than 14,000. Which is supposed to go in 2024. Just see within 7 years how much exponentially it is going to increase. Okay, so now what so you got to know like what is the importance of this machine learning and learning Python, right? Now, what is the specialty we are going to give you? So there are many institutes you can come across and you can see they are conducting Python training and all that. What is the specialty we are going to give, right? So step 1, we are going to explain all the concepts in detail and very clearly. Step 2, we will be handling programs. So even though if you are not from any programming background, we are going to teach you, all the loops, conditioning, all the stuffs in very basic, starting with the scratch, and we'll take you to build your logical program building, right? So the third step, if you see logic preparation. So we are going to, discuss enormous programs, logical programs that will build your logic, right? And then it is going to be interview preparation. So even though if you want to attend some interview based on Python, we can help in getting finding out some interviews and building your resume and all that. Okay, so apart from that, what we provide as a content material, right? So it will be 40 hours of dedicated training. It will be 1.5 hours per day. And if you are willing to join only on weekends, it will be 2.5 hours a day on Saturday and Sunday. We will be providing you study material. So I will just show, one demo of study material, what I'll be providing you. So this is one editor of Python, right? it is a Jupyter notebook. So you need to install this Anaconda. This is a Python IDE, you know, and we can make some notes into that. So there are like, certain methodologies, how to create these notes and all. So that we'll be helping you through. And about the topics, we have kept some precise programs to make the, topic or the concepts very clear about. And after this topics gets over, we have dedicated list of programs that will be for logic building. Okay. So this kind of, study materials we are going to send you. Apart from that, as I mentioned earlier, we will be giving you the recorded video of every session. Then the interview questions. So for every topic, we will be giving you a certain set of interview questions that are likely to be asked in your interviews, right? Okay, so if anybody having any question can come to me. You can openly ask some questions, and if you have any future, planning for learning Python or machine learning, you can ask anything about that. Yeah. You can voice it up, guys. You can ask anything, any question if it is there in your mind. Okay, don't hesitate to ask.
Hi, this is Beaton. Am I audible?
Yes, you are clearly audible.
Go when are you planning to start the training? Like whether it's weekdays or on weekends? When you are planning to start that?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, like so some people who are available on the weekdays, we can discuss about the timings and we can kickstart with that. Also on the weekends, we can have a batch, and we can we can again discuss about the timings, and we can start on the weekends. So it's just about like depending on the availability of the other students and their availability of the timings. So we are flexible with both. Like I'm also working, so definitely it is going to be after 7 p.m. every day, or early morning before 9 or 9:30.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, any other question?
Hi, Priyanjan.
Yeah, hello.
This is Brinda. So, do you have any plans on AWS and blockchain technology for the
So
courses?
AWS, you are looking for like Python scripting on AWS, or AWS administration you want to learn about AWS? I mean.
Architecture. So I'm the learning path, I'm not sure yet. So if I have to achieve architect certificate, so.
For time being, actually, we are kickstarting with few of the courses. So like we'll keep on posted if we have any plan about starting with AWS.
Okay, and about blockchain, is there any
scope? About blockchain, I think Naveen can. Naveen, are you there?
I'm available. So
blockchain, so
after
any
that
idea?
We'll discuss. So Priyanjan, please try to complete that Python, like that coding and all the parts. Okay. After that, we'll discuss later these things.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, so I believe you all have got the Python training syllabus. So what we are going to cover, this is going to be for core Python and the advanced Python. So we are going to discuss about when Python came, and what was the early drawbacks, what are the versions it has, installation and setting of path, those things we are going to help you. Then how many keywords are there, how to, there are the rules for defining identifiers, how many data types are there in Python, so how it is getting differentiated with Java, so those things we are going to learn. Operators in Python. As I mentioned, if you are from non-programming background also, we are going to take you through all the conditional statements, transfer statements, and iterative statements, nothing but loops and if, else blocks, and break, continue, pass statements. Apart from that, we are going to deal with string manipulations that, this is not similar to what we have in Java or C++ if you are coming from those programming language background. Lists, And we have, these are the data structures in Python: list, tuple, set, dictionaries. So then we have functions. So, so after this go through, I'll be taking you through some of the basic syntax of how we write in Python. And we have modules in Python: input, output, nothing but reading a file and reading file, writing into a file, how many formats we have and all that. Exception handling. So if any exceptions comes, how to handle that, how to create your own exceptions, nothing but the customized exceptions and all that. In advanced Python, we can go with the OOPS concept. That's, Python is both scripting, functional, as well as object-oriented programming language. So we can write programs without having a class and with having a class as well. But in case of C++ and Java, there has to be a class. In case of Java, it is must to start with a class. Then only we can write anything else, right? So we should have a class and the main method, and then only whatever the statements we are going to write in our, that has to be there. But in case of Python, we can simply write, one single line of statement that will be printing something or doing something as per your requirement. So it's not mandatory to have a class. So we will be coming across just sooner. Regular expressions, multi-threading, multi-processing and multi-threading. In terms of multi-processing, what we do. In terms of multi-threading, what we do. In case of Python, how it is different from other programming languages, right? Database connectivity, sending email, and some standard Python programs. That's what we are going to cover in this, training module completely. So apart from that, as I mentioned, you will be given some topic-wise programs that will be intended to build your logical skills. And after that, it is going to be interview preparation. So we will have some set of questions for every topic that will be targeted towards interview preparations. So, this is going to make your solid base. If you come across, AWS scripting or data science or machine learning. So machine learning, we are going to kickstart in a week or two. So that is already in pipeline. So, if you are interested, this is going to be just 40 days of training. And after that, you can come across machine learning or data science. Some of the use cases, I want to show you. So in case of Python, if you want to print hello world or hello Python, either you can go with a single print statement or you can go with a class. So if you just about what is object, why do we call object? Even, if is a programming paradigm that is used all across the OOPS based technologies like Java, C#, or .NET or C++. So OOPS is a programming approach. So we are going to, learn in detail about what does mean by a class, what does it mean by an object, what is the meaning of object creation, how an object gets the memory in your, heap area and all that. Discussions about different sections in the heap inside the Python virtual machine, all that we are going to discuss. I have created a simple program converting text to speech. So we have a library given by Google, that is Google text to speech, right? So we need to import that. See, the syntax is entirely different from what we have in C++ and in Java. Now from the library, we can directly import the method, right? This is what the functionality given, some powerful features given in Python. What I'm trying to, I had just created one string variable kept into here. See, Python is not strictly typed language. Java is strictly typed language. Anything we defined in Java, that has to be a type. We cannot define any type, I mean to say, here I have defined a variable and I'm keeping a string value, right? I'm not stating what type of this variable is, but I'm able to put a value of type string, right? In case of Java or C++, we need to mention here string likewise, right? So Java is strictly typed language, but Python is not strictly typed language. We are not, we don't need to define the type of the variables, right? Okay, so one more variable I just took and put, EN for English. I call that method and pass the required parameters, and I run the program now. Now I am trying to save into a file that is welcome.mp3. Let me open the file and let us see. So here is the file got created. Let me delete and rerun just for the confirmation. Okay, the file got created. Let me open it. Okay, and I'm not sure whether you are getting this audio or not. Did you got that, Naveen? Okay, so actually, yeah. Okay, did you got the audio? What I just played?
Can you play? Can you again?
Yeah, I'm doing. Did you got? It says like
it's not audible.
Yes,
it's not audible.
Audio is not audible, I think.
Okay, I'm keeping the volume as the maximum. Okay, but you can see, right? At least you can just verify. Like we got one audio file, got created over here after running this program. So whatever the text we are giving to this variable, that is getting converted into a MP3 file and getting saved into this file. That's what is happening. So just simple one, import of the library is doing such a miracle. If I'm not sure whether it is this functionality is available in Java 11 or not, but this has got in long back in Python, right? So currently, just to give you some more information about Python 3 is the latest version, 3.8, right? And we had got 3 versions of Python, Python 1.x, Python 2.x, and Python 3.x. Python 1.x in the initial release had come, but it is no more in use. It has got deprecated. Python 2.x has got support till December 2020. So this year end, it is going to be deprecated. So Python 3.x is going to be the stable version. Okay, one more very important, very broadly used use case I'm trying to show you. So what I'm doing over here is I want to read this CSV file. So if I go to the URL, there is a CSV. So CSV is nothing but comma separated values. See this. Now my intention is to read this and to print as per our requirement. Let us go and see this. There is one pandas library given in Python. This is, for data science, this is one of the most important picked library for the developers that helps us to use, manipulations with CSV, Excel, TXT file, and so on. So we can do all that. So there is one read CSV function. I'm just passing the URL, and this is the intelligence of this Jupyter notebook. I'm not printing I'm not writing a print statement, but still it is printing. If I run this, it's still running. So this star is saying like this is already in process. Okay, what is the issue? Yeah, we got that. So I'm not writing a print statement, still the values of the CSV is getting printed over here. Now, what does it mean? So there is some intelligence of this Jupyter notebook that is doing for a single line, for a single line, just we give the variable, it is going to be printing the values contained in this variable. Even we can write the print statement, it is going to, give the same output. Now, there are lots of rows over here. See, it will give the count of number of rows and columns also. See the number of rows and number of columns. Now, I want to describe the data. So whatever, the data we had over here, just scroll down and see how much data we have, right? It's a huge data, right? But still, in the real time, this is going to be a very small amount of data that we'll be going to deal about, right? So what describe will do? Describe will take the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum value, maximum value, and some step values of 25%, 50%, 75%, and like that, right? Suppose we want to print only top 10 values. So we can use the head function. We can pass the value. We can pass 20 to get the top 20 values. we have the tail function to, print the top 10 value from the bottom. So that's how, there are lots of method in this library that we can use, to do all the manipulations related to Excel or CSV or TXT files. So, just to, I intended to make you clear about how easy is Python. The syntax wise, it's the simplest language, and there is no, hard coded rule of how we have in Java or .NET. So it is a very simple and not a very huge actually. And that's the reason, it is a first choice of developers to pick as a programming language for web development. Either, if somebody is going to go for web development, they can learn Django and Flask. Those are the frameworks for web development in Python. And they can kickstart with web development. For going with data science, as I mentioned, there are certain libraries. For machine learning, there are certain libraries. And so for going with any of the cutting edge technology, Python is going to be the base technology, and everybody should be knowing, that's what the intent. Okay, so Naveen, I think mostly I'm done with what I had to show. So, I mean, it is back to you now. So if anybody having any doubt, you can, jump in and ask me that. Naveen, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm available here. Okay. So,
okay, so I think, yeah, please.
Yes, yes. So I already saw all the things Python. So there are lots of guys who are going to like that. They're watching that what is things going on in Python. So I will tell you like that Python is one of the easiest language in the world. Okay. So anybody have any doubt like that where I can start the coding, where I can move towards in Python, how we can start the career into Python, how I can transition my
See,
career.
I think if sorry to interrupt you, just one point I want to add. If somebody is from the development background, any programming language, so they might be aware of Stack Overflow. That's the website. Most frequently, if we have any doubt, we used to go and Google over there. So we used to search our errors or the doubts what we have on Stack Overflow in 2019 onwards. 28% of the discussions are on Python, and Java is now on the second, that is 20% with 20% number. So, in just a recent time, like 3 to 4 years, Python has overtaken Java as well, JavaScript as well. So I have already shown in the Google Trends. Going forward, after 3 to 5 years, machine learning, data science are going to be huge in demand. And that's the underlying technology, which is Python. So, I already shown you the Forbes list. So this is a projection of just 22. It's going to create 5.8 crore jobs. That's a huge number, right? So, for underlying technology, for any of the cutting edge technology is going to be Python. So it is the right time. We have time since we are in kind of work from home situation, and it's gonna be long. We are not sure how long it is going to be. So being in home, just spending a month or 40 days, we can learn something very important. I feel that's worth. Yeah, back to you, Naveen.
Yes, yes. So Priyanjay, do one thing. Can you show me what is the like that? There are lots of guys who are entering the market as an internship, and there are lots of guys who are working as a software testing engineer, and your Java developer and your PHP developer also. There are lots of guys who are the non-technical parts from like the BPO industry, your KPO also, and there are lots of guys who are working in the call center also. So there are lots of guys who are available in this industry, but they don't know from how they can start the Python, from where they can start the coding and all things, and how they start the coding, and in how many days they are able to complete all the things from scratch to advanced level. Like that, there are lots of tools like that, your Jupyter, your PyCharm. There are lots of things available where we can do the coding like that in Eclipse also, in your .NET part also. So there are lots of scenario where people are confused like that, where I can go for that, and which is the best area where I can improve myself and I can go for the interview purpose. So when you go for interview in any industry, like your Java, like your RPA, like your AI, data scientist, machine learning, Python, anything. First, you have to clear about your scenario, like that you have to clear your concept like that from basic to advanced level. Okay. So when you appear for interviewing across industry, people are assuming like that you already completed the Python, you already worked in industry at least 6 months, one year. So that's why they ask the basic and fundamental question. Okay. So when you appear for any interview, must you have to clear all the fundamental parts of any programming language like your Java. Yes. So that's why what I will suggest you for the Python also, when anybody is starting their career into Python, RP, any programming language or any technology, first you have to very clear about that, like your coding and all the standards, your scratch to advanced level. There are all the things like your advantage, disadvantage, your capability, your limitations, your how much salary I can get in that industry.
You know,
Okay.
Python is considered as the easiest programming language to start with. So even for college student or somebody who is for non-programming background can start with Python, because Java is very huge. As a technology, it's very big actually. So learning Java can take you through like 5 to 6 months to complete it. But learning Python will take hardly 40-45 days to 60 days, right? So getting, you know, well versed in Python is not gonna be taking more than 60 days. What we are, you know, as per our, you know, learning curve, what I mentioned, we have an extensive training program that will be, you know, making you well versed in Python core and advanced in just 40 days. So, you know, apart from just giving you training, we are making you well versed with the logical part as well. So somebody who is not even from the programming background earlier and might struggle in the beginning about the logical part, that also we will take care of. So you know, you know, obviously the content I have been showing into the slides are Python is going to be the, you know, basic language or base language for all the cutting edge technology, and learning clarity, having clarity about the Python, because if you try to learn directly AI, ML or data science, there it is going to be the Python libraries we are going to use. If you don't know the basic syntax, how to create a class, how to create a methods, how to iterate it and all that, we are not going to do it. We are going to struggle a lot. So, you know, learning Python, Python core and advanced is the fundamental things we have to start with. Okay. Okay, any doubt, anyone?
Hi, I'm Ashutosh here. Just wanted a comment from you. So like Python is being used in different technologies like in RP, data science, machine learning. So like, is there any modules which are worked differently in these technologies, or like if we learn Python, then we can work in, means in all these areas, similar concepts are being used?
Okay, yeah. So, you know, uh, if we go for AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, deep learning, there are certain libraries which are being used as a common to that, right? What, you know, learning core and advanced Python, currently what we have planned for is that will give the clear idea about what is the technology, how to use a library, how to write the logics in Python, right? Now, if you are going for artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, or deep learning, there are certain libraries which are dedicated to that, and that you need to learn, you know. And apart from, you know, you can learn it by yourself also if the programming part you want to cover. But machine learning is not only just about the Python programming, using those library and all that, right? There are many things more than that. There are tools like we have to cover some mathematical parts. So there are like statistics, probability, linear algebra, we need to know. There are certain algorithms we need to know. So there are libraries for that. Like, you know, for if I tell you for machine learning, there is scikit-learn, pandas, numpy, as I stated earlier. Matplotlib, Keras, these are the libraries, dedicated to machine learning and data science. So there are certain libraries which are used in few of the technologies. But if you go for AWS scripting, there is a Boto 3, that is a different library you need to learn, that is specific for the scripting. So depending on the area what you are choosing, there are different libraries and you need to come across, then only you will be able to do.
Okay, thank you.
Answer your question. Yeah, thank you. Any